and I know that, you said, I know when we were talking before we started recording, you were talking about having done the research on comets. So if there's biological material in the comet, then it had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Where does the comet come from, and where does the biological material come from?
That is the big scary question, isn't it? It's like, there was a lot of talk about comets bringing life to the planet and bringing all the water to the planet and everything else. Well, where the hell did the comets come from? And where did that life on the comets come from? There's only one possible explanation, and that is aliens.
Okay, but you're laughing, but...
No, actually, that
it was the look on his face.
That doesn't resolve it, obviously, because
No.
the aliens had to come from somewhere, too.
Sure.
And that's something we'll never probably understand. And, the panspermia idea is that it's everywhere. Life is everywhere. It's being sort of passed around and distributed all over the place by comets and meteoroids and everything else.
Yeah, so
But my theory about comets essentially comets are just kind of like mines that are sent through the planet, that's sent through our solar system by some aliens. They've been manufactured. They put them in orbit around the sun. They go around us. There's suspiciously many of them that are in the ecliptic, so it means we cross their paths. So when they come in, they rocket around the sun quickly, leave a lot of debris behind. And then they go way, way out there to what's called the Oort cloud, way far away, and they come back like 100 years later. So way out there, we can't see what's going on out there, but I'm suspecting that they meet up with an alien starship, which loads them up with all kinds of new deadly bugs, and then they start their journey back in. So there you go. We've solved the mystery.
So you laugh, but he's actually got some good material in there. One of the interesting things to think about is, as I said, the point of a virus is to keep you alive. I mean, it's not like going to enhance your health, but it's not supposed to hurt it. So, it's this big question of where did these viruses and bacteria evolve? In what scenario or what living being, because that's generally where these things incubate, in living beings. Did this incubate and it said, oh, no, this is great. I'm not killing it, I'm not hurting it, but I'm living in it. And then it got cast off onto this comet for whatever reason. The comet comes around, discards it, and it comes down and just kills millions of human beings because it's not, I guess, calibrated would be a term to use to a human biology. So, am I going to say aliens? No. But I think it's an interesting thought, for sure.
This is great. And I think that the first time we talked about this story, I said that this really sounded familiar to me for a while when we first started doing this. And I know that there had been some talk of this. Do you guys remember I told you there's a book out there by a guy named Scott Sigler that's called Pandemic.
Yeah.
And it deals with aliens who distribute some kind of virus through the atmosphere to then, reproduce, and there's all these things that happen, and obviously not going to give away the plot, but it's a very, very similar storyline to what we've just talked about for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15? More like 45. Anyway. Yeah, no, it's entirely possible. I mean, think about it. If you're an alien, you want to come down and colonize the planet, why not do a little biological warfare?
Well, I mean, maybe it's we're making light and saying it's nefarious aliens, but Devin, you were explaining to me where comets come from.
Yeah.
And what is that again?
So,
it's one of those things that just
a comet happens from a collision, right? I mean, most meteors of any size or asteroids of any size come from a planet disintegrating. Some of them are left over from the dawn of the universe, sure, but most of the time it's, a planet for whatever reason has just disintegrated, and all of the little bits shoot off into all millions of different directions. And it turns out there are a lot of water worlds, not in our solar system, obviously, but in our galaxy and in our universe. There are these.
The Kevin Costner water world, right?
The one where he drinks his own pee. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's not those guys. Maybe it is. I don't know. But they're worlds that are just mostly made of water. And the theory is that if an asteroid large enough hits this thing, it basically splashes a lot of water into space, which I understand is physics, maybe, okay, there's some problems there. But if it's big enough,
Or simplify.
it'll splash some water, essentially splash water into space, and all of the water, like molecules, cling together, as everybody knows. So all of the water kind of like comes together and freezes into this thing and shoot off into a different direction, and that's essentially where a comet comes from. One of the many different ways, but that's one of the big theories, is that it's basically just water from this like alien world that's just been splashed into space.
Well, and I know, I swear, I don't know where I've learned this, but isn't it the tail of a comet? We all, associate a comet as having a tail, but the tail is not always there. It's only when the comet comes into a certain amount of heat and radiation that it
Yeah.
starts to melt.
Yeah.
And that melt or that melt off is what becomes the tail.
The
Yeah,
melt
and
off,
that's-
and then the solar wind forces it away from the sun, which is why when it's coming towards the sun, when the tail is at its smallest, it's kind of like a tail. When it's gone around the sun and heading back, the tail is actually in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah,
Yeah. So they actually, the Earth is kind of in like a sweet spot of like, it's melted enough to be a tail, but not so melted that you can't see it entering our atmosphere, which is pretty interesting. I mean,
weird.
the Earth is in a lot of sweet spots.
Science
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
Science is weird. I
Science
think
is weird.
the thing I'm actually really interested in that I came up when I was in my like comet hole was that I found out that there's a comet, like a big old comet coming for us.
I know.
Really soon. It's in the, I'm sorry, how did you pronounce it? The cloud?
The Oort cloud.
Yeah, it's in there right now.
Well, no, it's the Oort cloud is far away. It's like due here. Are you talking about the one that's due here at the end of this year? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's
not?
No, it's headed this way already. I mean, because the Oort cloud is like way out beyond Pluto. I mean, it's a long
I
ways
thought
away.
it was there. Maybe it was when
ju-
this report was written.
I don't know where it is now. It's probably past the orbit of Mars by now.
Well, so the thing is that it's supposed to be at its brightest in like really late November, early December of this year.
I'm going to order some clear skies.
Apparently, it's supposed to be within binocular view, like within the next month. You're supposed to be able to see it with binoculars. It's that big, and at its height, which is this like late November, early December area, it's going to be in the sky, and it's going to be brighter than a full moon would be,
That's going to be awesome.
which is pretty awesome.
That's
Although-
cool.
It's maybe the biggest comet that we've ever encountered. It's gonna pass close enough for us to see it, but it's not gonna pass close enough for us to like have
Die.
any kind of fear.
No, all we got to worry about is like dying horribly from some
From the
disease.
bubonic
but
plague
yeah,
or-
But we don't
I
have to
mean,
send
Spanish
Bruce Willis
flu.
into space
No.
to drill it apart.
No, we don't have to do
Okay,
that.
well, that's good.
But that
Because he's getting old.
it'll be
Yeah,
visible
there's always the rock.
for like 4 or 5 months to the naked eye.
Yeah, no,
months?
all the way until July. So
I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to this. I really am, because the return of Halley's Comet was kind of a letdown, and then,
Yeah,
and then
it
there
was,
and then there was
wasn't
Kohoutek, which also was a big
also
old
a big
letdown.
old letdown.
Yeah, I know, and so I hope this one really turns out to like live up to its name.
I saw
really do.
Halley's Comet. I remember when I was like 10 or 11, and
Yeah,
I
it was
in
kinda
our hood.
pathetic. Yeah.
And for me, it was my first comet that I had ever really seen, and it was really awesome because we went up to Mount Hood and we were up camping, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But this, I'm really excited about. I'm also really interested to see if some of these scientists, because the people who have been doing research on this comet theory are by and large real scientists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If they are going to take advantage of this and try and get any kind of data from it, because it is the biggest one, and it's not one we've particularly encountered before.
There has been talk. I don't know if they have enough time to. I don't know if there's plans to send a probe out to this one, but there have been talk. There's been talk about sending a probe out to a comet.
Yeah.
And actually, I think NASA is working on that.
It would be interesting.
yeah.
NASA's also working on it. Just saw something recently, figuring out there are actually a lot of companies are now figuring out in wanting to
Mine the asteroids.
mine the asteroids.
Yeah,
They're they're starting to put up money to figure out how to do it. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked if we're going to start, pulling in giant space badminton nets to catch a comet.
Well, that's how you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a space badminton
Yeah,
net.
it is.
Yeah.
That's as technical as it
Yeah.
gets.
Yeah.
So-
It'd be interesting to, I think it'd be great if we could capture some asteroids, some fairly decent ones, and nudge them. It'd be a long process, but to basically nudge them into Earth orbit and then mine them hollow them out on the inside. And you're using attached rockets. You put a spin on them to generate artificial gravity. So.
And then you play space tennis?
No, and then you have people living inside them.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. You could
that would
basically
be a
turn.
cool way to go.
You could totally turn these things into habitats.
Yeah, you could.
I think it'd be freaking awesome.
So,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to ask if that's our theories.
I was about to say we've been off topic for a while.
Yeah, we kind of have been. Yeah. No, I'm in.
We really
Fallen back in
spun
our-
off that
I'm
one.
in my sci-fi nerd mode here. I like to talk about.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, futurism.
That's all of the theories that I know about. Do you guys have any others?
As far as the origins of the Spanish flu,
Yes.
the frickin' Spanish.
It's the last one I've got.
Well, if that's all of it, and that's all we've got, ladies and gentlemen,
Well-
I hope you enjoyed today's show. This is a little different for us. We haven't done this before, so
Yeah, usually we solve mysteries. Today, I think we created more than we solved.
yeah, we
Yeah.
might have.
Yeah.
But, if you like this and you enjoyed it, please let us know. You can let us know, or if you've got theories of your own or other research you want to tell us about, go ahead and send us an email. You can email us at thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. There is a lot of research material out there, and we have so many links. There's no way we can put them all on the site. So we're going to put up a good number of them. But if you want to find some of the research material that we used, you can find it right on our website. That, as always, is at thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. And with that,
I just want to, a little shout out here, a little plea for all of you. I'm sure among our listeners, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of scientists who are actually investigating stuff like this. So please call, email, whatever, and tell us what your thoughts are.
I'd love to know. I'd
Yeah.
love to know.
Yeah.
Because this one is kind of a sticky mess.
Yeah, I agree.
A big, gooey, icky mess. I know.
Yes. Yeah. Phlegmy mess.
Yeah.
Phlegmy mess.
I just want to know if I got to stock up on gas masks and aspirin.
Aspirin.
And,
Get aspirin.
Yeah, before
All
the
right,
spring.
ladies and gentlemen. Well, Joe's going to go buy some aspirin. We're going to go ahead and call this show a day. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Next
Bye.
week. Bye, folks.
Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by a dry ham and cheese croissant. Instead, it's supported by the generous donations of our listeners on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/thinkingsideways to learn more. And thanks.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a slide.
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey guys, welcome to an episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as always by
Joe.
and
Steve.
who's being a little butt today.
Yeah. He's promised not to be a butt anymore, though.
promised.
I
Yeah.
promise not to sabotage you anymore.
We are 10 minutes into
Yeah.
recording already.
And we haven't recorded anything.
Well, hey,
Anyway.
this is, you going to tell them about our October special?
Yeah, so we're in the month of October now. Welcome. And historically, what we do is we kind of pick a theme for the month of October because I don't know, Halloween, Unsolved Mysteries, it makes sense. This year, we decided to. Last year, we did murders.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
horrible
really
murders.
heinous murders. Yeah.
This year, we decided to do what we're calling Thinking Sideways' Most Wanted, where we actually did a poll for all of our social media users, and they all voted. We made a list of the 15 most,
Something like that, yeah.
something like that, some number of the most requested unsolved mysteries that we get. And then we had people vote on the ones that they wanted the most. So we've taken the top, I think, 5.
5 or 6, something.
5 or
Depends on
6.
exactly how it susses out.
We are still negotiating how long some of them are going to be.
Don't bother to go find the link and vote, guys. Voting's
No.
already closed.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Long closed by the time this
Months
episode
ago.
comes out.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
But we're going to do the 4th runner-up today. And then, Halloween special will be the first most requested.
Oh,
The
yeah.
most voted one.
Twill indeed.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun series. And today we're going to talk about the Springfield 3.
Indeed.
Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
On June 6th, 1992, Susie Streeter and Stacy McCall were celebrating their high school graduation. One of them was 18, the other was 19. The school had offered a non-drinking grad night. Did you guys have that?
Yes.
We did too. Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Were they? Well, you're probably too old.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about underage
They
drinking
weren't
at that
worried.
point.
Yeah. There was no
they-
such thing as underage drinking at that point.
Oh, hell. There sure as hell was. There was lots of it.
So if you're unfamiliar with this concept, basically what it is it's like a big old party night. Ours was casino themed. We did it at a water park, but they wouldn't tell you where it was. It was just a surprise. The school put it on. For us at least. They didn't tell
I
us
was
where
going to
we
say,
were going.
not the ones I knew of.
Yeah, they didn't tell us where we were going. They just said pack a swimsuit and a change of clothes and a couple other things, and you write it in a bag, and you hand your bag over, and they take you to the place, and you're locked in all night.
A shut-in.
Yeah, it's a shut-in basically, and it's a fun party
They lock
as long
you
as
in?
you're lame like me and didn't drink in high school and like thought that hanging out was really fun. If you
Especially
do
at a
drink,
water park.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, yours sounded cool. The
It
one
was
I went to
awesome.
was just hanging out in the gymnasium.
Oh.
It blew.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah, ours was at the local water park that you guys know, the indoor water park, very close to here. And they also set up a bunch of casino tables, and they had like a mechanical bull, and it was really fun.
That does
But
sound kinda
also,
fun.
like, there was
Rub
no
it in.
alcohol.
Rub
so-
it in.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the story is not about that. The story is about the fact that Susie and Stacy decided that sounds lame. We don't want to do the shut-in thing.
Because I think that was going to be in their gym, wasn't it?
I think it was. It
Yeah.
sounded like it was going to be a lame one, on like
Yeah.
Steve's. Yeah.
I graduated in this right around the same time as these two,
Yeah.
so the shut-ins were kind of a new idea, but nobody had figured out how to make them
it awesome.
enticing.
Yeah, yeah. So they and a group of friends, it wasn't just these two girls, decided they would not do the shut-in and they would do their own party. And there were a series of parties involving alcohol that were
It's
happening
high
that
school
night.
graduation, of
Yeah.
course there is.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah. They decided water park theme, apparently. So this group of friends decided that on Sunday, which was the next day, the 7th, they would all go to a water park that was kind of close, but it was kind of a longer drive.
It's like a half-hour drive or something.
Yeah, but their plan was they were going to drive there and to a motel that was close to the water park that night.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on the 6th, and stay there. The whole group was going to do that, and then they would just go to the water park the next morning. Mm-hmm. That was the plan.
But the parents weren't too enthusiastic
The
about that
parent,
plan.
yeah. Well, as you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
The parents
Oh,
weren't
yeah.
super.
Hi, you're underage. It's late. You've been celebrating with drinks, whether we told you you could or not, and
Yeah.
now you're going to get into a bunch of cars and drive on the freeway.
Yeah, and none of. I've listened to a fair number of interviews with parents that were involved in this whole situation, and none of them seemed to, they all kind of seemed to be understanding and okay with the fact that the kids were going to drink. And really, their concern was like, hey, maybe don't go drive for
Yep.
a really long time after you've been drinking, not like, hey, don't drink.
Yeah.
So they decided instead of going to the motel, they would stay with their friend Janelle, who was also a part of this party.
She was a senior.
She was also a senior, yeah. So they got to her house after one of the parties, but it turned out, I don't know why Janelle didn't know this, but apparently she didn't. But it turned out that like all of her extended family was staying for the graduation. They were all from some other state.
Another state,
They're
yeah.
from
So they were-
Kansas, I think.
Yeah, so they were visiting, so they were all staying there. So the house was pretty full. And, the girls could have just slept on the floor, but Susie's mom lived pretty close by. And she was a single mom, so it was just her at the house, and there was plenty of room. So Susie said, "You know what? Stacy and I are gonna go. We're gonna drive back to my mom's house, and we're gonna stay there tonight."
And her mom's name was
instead.
Cheryl.
And her mom's name was Cheryl. Yeah.
So we've got Susie, Stacy, and Cheryl. Mm-hmm. You've got to kind of keep these straight, guys, because it is, if you're not reading it constantly, it
It's
will
gonna
get a
get-
little confusing.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Because we've got, so it's Susie Streeter, and her mom
Cheryl
is
Levitt.
Cheryl.
Cheryl Levitt.
Yep.
Cheryl Levitt. Yeah.
And then the other girl is
Stacey
Stacy
McCall.
McCall, and she's the friend. There's going to be a lot of name dropping, so I just
Yeah.
want to try and lay some groundwork for folk, because I read 2 or 3 articles and then went, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, who's
Yeah, it
which
is-
one,
it
and
is.
especially when you get with the daughters, with the
Yes.
daughter and the friend, I kept
and they
getting
all have
confused.
different last names.
Yeah, that was the other part. They
All
all have
mothers and daughters in this story don't have the same last name,
Yeah.
which makes it tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, although Susie's brother does have the same last name as her.
Yeah, that was the only consistent.
That was the
last
only
name.
one.
Yeah, it was the only one.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted. So they're
Oh, no, that's
they're
fine.
going to Cheryl's house.
So they're going to Cheryl's house, yeah. And they drive separately. They both have their cars wherever they were, so they decide to drive separately over to Cheryl's house. And they called Cheryl